If you're looking to buy or sell a home in New Jersey, contact our Coldwell Banker office in Wayne at 973-694-8000 or call Tim direct at 973-865-0249. You can also visit his website at www.homesinwaynenj.com. Tim's promise to you and your family is to provide you with exceptional real estate service while always working to exceed your expectations. And remember, at Coldwell Banker, we never stop moving. Are you an expert in your field?
Do you want your voice to be heard?
Maybe you have a great idea for a show but don't know how to do it.
Well, we can make it happen.
Email the New Jersey Podcast Guys at NJPodcastGuys@gmail.com. Welcome to the New Jersey Real Estate Show. Now, here are your hosts, Tim Waller and Matt Josephs.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the New Jersey Real Estate Show. I'm Tim Waller, your host, and sitting to my immediate left is my co-host, Matt Josephs, known to many as the voice of reason.
Thank you, Tim.
I'd like to give a little shout out to Peter Cornell, our engineer, who makes this show possible. Can you say that again, Peter?
Oh, hello.
Okay, now I heard you. All right. Matt, we have a very informative, interesting show lined up for our listeners today.
Yes, I'm very excited about this.
Yep, we're going to be discussing in depth the importance of using a professional photographer to take your real estate photos. Our in-house guest today is Joe Locascio, owner of Home Exposure. Joe has won the prestigious award of New Jersey's best real estate photographers for the past 3 years and has photographed 4,500 homes in the past 4 years.
Jeez.
Now, I know Joe doesn't say this to impress you. He says this to impress upon you that the more you do of something, the better you get at doing it. Joe, welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me.
Okay, Joe, can you please take some time and tell our listeners about you, your experience in photography, and how you came to open your own company, Home Exposure?
Sure. So about 10 years or so ago, I was involved in, I owned a building and architecture company, and couldn't sit behind a desk much longer, so I decided to see what else I could do. I minored in photography in college and wanted to see how I can mix the two together, so I started sending some of my photos out to some of my clients of homes that I had built for them, and I would send them out to magazines and whoever I can get my hands on, send it out to real estate agents. And slowly but surely, I started getting phone calls saying, hey, your pictures are pretty good. Why don't you come shoot this house for me? Or this magazine is interested in your work. Can we have some of your, can you come shoot this for us? So it started slowly like that. And then about 5 years ago, 5 or 6 years ago, my wife and I were looking for a house and started looking at the photos, and I was like, these pictures are terrible. I can do this 10 times better. So I started, calling up agents saying, hey, let me just shoot your homes for nothing. Let me just come in, get so I can get a little bit of, a couple stock, and it kind of just took off from there. I got one agent, then I got two, then I got the whole office.
Wow.
And
well, that's why quality work in this industry is appreciated.
Absolutely.
And for the likes of me, I don't know why all licensed real estate agents in this state do not use a professional photographer.
Money. They don't want to spend the money.
That's basically what it comes down to.
Yeah, but you know what? When you're being entrusted to an individual's the single most important asset they own, you need to display that in its best light.
Yeah.
And you can't do that by taking photos with your iPhone.
No.
It just doesn't work. Those days are over.
No.
And you can tell now when you look on Zillow, Trulia, the MLS, who's doing professional photography and who's not.
Yeah.
And however, there is a difference in each of those professional photographers' photos.
I mean, I'm not in the market to buy a house, but, since I've been doing this, I've been getting into, just paying attention to realtors more. And absolutely, when I can tell that they've used a professional photographer or videographer, I just have more respect for that realtor. And I'm like, okay, this one gets it. And then I keep them in the back of my mind. Well, this was before I met you. Now, if I ever go to buy a house, then I'm going to you. But you know what I mean? Like, I keep it in the back of my mind. If I ever need somebody, yeah, of course.
Yeah, it blows my mind that some people still don't use. I would never hire somebody that didn't use a professional photographer to sell my home because marketing it is that's how you're going to sell your home.
Now, would you recommend though, like if I'm selling a house that's going for like a little ranch going for $115,000, do you get the professional photographer for that? I mean, you and I would say yes, but Tim, like, what do you?
I try to treat every customer the same because to me they're all equally important.
Okay.
And I have to put their concerns and interests first, and if I do that, I'll be compensated. So the answer to your question is yes, I would do a professional photography. So I don't want to do it on my own.
A lot of maybe less successful agents than you don't have that attitude. Like, so they say, well, they're only selling for $115,000, and it's like I can't justify spending X thousand on photographs or whatever it may be.
It may be they're lazy. It may be they don't want to spend the money. It can be
Well, what you're nodding over there, Joe? What's your?
Yeah, no, I mean I hear it every day. Like, oh, I got this condo for sale. It's $100,000. I don't think I'm gonna use. I'm not gonna use you on that. I'll kind of shoot it myself.
Right.
And then a month later, they'll be calling. This I can't rent it. Can you come back in and shoot it? And I'll come in, and then they'll see the difference. Even though it's $100,000,
it's worth it.
Condo, the pictures are selling the home. People are looking on the internet to see, and if it doesn't look good, they're not going to come to your house.
Yeah.
Quick story. I called and expired, and immediately I knew that. I looked at the photographs. I knew they weren't professional. So when I got there, the house was so much nicer than what the photographs portrayed the house to be. And I told the people, I said, look, first and foremost, we need to have a professional photographer take your photographs because your house is much nicer than what these photographs. And I blew the photographs up and laid it out and showed it to them. Well, when the photographer came and took the photographs, we repackaged it, we remarketed it, put it back on the market. Within a week, it sold. Mm-hmm. And here's a house that was on the market for 6 months. So does professional photography work? Absolutely. But Joe, if you had to name one thing that sets your photography apart from other real estate photographers, what do you think that would be?
That I have a background in architecture and building. I feel that I have the eye for. I like architecture, so I have an eye for good architecture, and angles are a big part of making good photos. You can be off by a foot or so, and the photo would look totally different than it would. So you really have to have an eye for the angles and know architecture.
And in full disclosure to my co-host Matt, our engineer Peter, and all our listeners out there, I've used Joe now for 2 years. Mm-hmm. That's why I invited him on the show. I've seen his work up front, close and personal,
for him.
And it's the best I've seen in the industry.
Thank you.
You're welcome, Joe.
Then I won't even try.
That's our voice of reason.
There you go.
That's some reason for you. So, wait. So, having a background in architecture definitely has got to help you. So, but what do you do when you get into a room that is just plain old boring, like this room?
Yeah.
For example.
It comes down to, so for a room like this, I would focus on like the French door, or I would focus on the windows and see, oh, look how, it's pretty outside that window. Right. So I'm going to shoot.
So you'll find like whatever the redeeming quality is in the boring room, if there is one. And what if there isn't though? I mean, what if it's just like, it's not a French door, there's no windows.
Yeah, I mean, it's just going to look like a box.
It's going to look like a boring room.
Yeah. So, some rooms are tough to shoot.
Right.
Like
but when
that.
you're shooting those like $1.5 million homes that are just gorgeous, like it's almost like...
It's funny. Some of the $1.5 million homes, the $200,000 homes look better than they do sometimes.
Yeah.
But in all in all, you get to shoot the high-end homes. They're going to have it professionally staged, and it's going to be ready to shoot.
Right.
So they come out. I mean, they always come out really nice.
And Joe, what should a homeowner do to prepare for having you come over as a professional photographer?
They want to declutter a lot of their personal items, pictures.
In most cases, that means getting 3 or 4 pods.
That's pretty much, yeah. Yep. Just get rid of as much as you can.
Like in the kitchen, get everything off the countertops.
Wipe the pictures off the refrigerator,
Right.
and
All the magnets.
Yeah, get rid of all that stuff.
Okay.
The wall of the kids' family photos, all that.
Now
Keep it to a minimum.
Here's a big one. I hear complaints all the time from consumers that the real estate photography they see online often varies from when they actually see the same home in person. And the majority of buyers are disappointed because the photos they saw online made the rooms appear larger than they actually are when viewed in person.
Mm-hmm.
Why is that? And is that the proper way to professionally take a picture?
That is just bad photography. Photographers will come out and say that they can do real estate photography, like wedding photographers when they're slow. They'll come out, I can do real estate photography, and I can do all that. And it's a very specialized type of photography. And
That's kind of like a criminal lawyer saying I could do a real estate closing.
Right.
For all your lawyers out there, I'm sorry.
It's like me claiming I'm a professional chef because I can, put a box of Elios in.
Correct.
So, and that's really what it comes down to, is them not really knowing what and at the angles of shooting. And
I think they're actually doing the seller a disservice, because when you have a buyer that's all excited and sees the pictures online and they come to the house and they say, wow, is this the same house? It's almost like deceiving.
Oh, yeah. And that's just because they don't know. They don't know, what focal lengths to use. They don't know the right lighting. They don't know. They think that the lighting is the same as the studio lighting that they have all set up, and that's just not the case.
And I mean, like, the difference between wedding photography and what you're doing is like the difference between painting a picture and Legos.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? It's like one's very
totally
definite.
Two ends of the spectrum.
Yeah. So like, if you're more of an artist photographer as opposed to a mechanical, or not mechanical, but
like
what
a
I'm
fine
saying.
arts photographer or
or somebody like or who would be doing architecture, because I have a friend who he does commercial real estate, like gets up in a helicopter and goes and shoots buildings in New York, and he gets these beautiful shots of skyscrapers and office buildings and stuff, and I'll drive by, and sometimes it's an office building out in Jersey or Georgia or something, and it's just this big square thing in the middle of a field with some shrubs, but he somehow makes it look interesting, and I look at it, I'm like, I don't find this beautiful in any way. I couldn't even begin to chip away at how to shoot this. But you guys have a different brain, and so you look at it differently. So it's not, you can't get a wedding photographer in the off season to go in there and do that. Like, you're going to be disappointed.
No, for sure. I mean, it's definitely in the eye of the photographer.
And that's why you're so highly rated then, because it's a certain eye that you have to have and a certain part of your brain that has to work with it.
It is. You have to be able to see the room differently than someone else.
Right.
And that's where I kind of come in and can specialize in that. So
now, what's also interesting, I think, is becoming quite popular, are twilight photos, because they really bring out the elegance of a home.
Yeah.
The radiance some houses create at night summates an atmosphere within a photo that daylight photos simply cannot acquire.
Yep.
Joe, would you agree or disagree with that?
I would agree. Again, you have to know what you're doing. I've been taking twilight photos now for 10 years.
And you're running around with the flash and everything?
Yeah, and you don't need that.
You don't need that?
No. I've learned over the years how to
just use the
hone
available
my skill
light.
And if you don't know what you're doing, you're doing your client a disservice, and it looks bad.
Do you think all homes qualify for twilight photography?
I'll go in and look at the house, and I'll say, your house actually might photograph really nice at night. and I'll talk to the agent and say, hey, what do you think? Some houses, the homeowner will say, I saw these pictures of twilight pictures of the house. I want to do that to my house, but they have no landscape lighting and they don't have.
Right, that's the key, right? You got to have all that, like.
You have to have all that lighting, up lights and all that. Yeah. Or it's.
Or you have to run around with a flash and a long exposure.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And.
Like an idiot.
Yeah.
So all these like $1 million shows, $1 million listing New York, $1 million listing California or LA or whatever it may be.
I've shot for them.
Did you really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
But so Ryan and I think Frederick.
Yep.
Frederick does the old kick.
No,
so you actually met Frederick and.
Yeah.
How is he? He's another tall
nice
character,
guy.
right?
Yeah. Very. Yeah.
And what about Ryan? Ryan's the other guy that he really doesn't get along with Frederick.
I'm in the back. I'll be in the back of the scenes. So I don't really.
You don't get involved in the politics.
No, I take pictures in the rooms.
All right. And so with the 4,500 homes that you've shot, now that's pretty much you go all over New Jersey, or are you?
It's pretty much Essex, Bergen.
Morris? You do Morris County?
I do a lot in Morris County, Passaic County.
Right.
That's pretty much it.
Okay.
Sussex County.
But for the right person, you may travel.
I do travel. I mean, I go down the shore a bunch.
Only in the summertime.
Yeah, exactly. And I'll go out west to Warren County. I've gone to New York a couple times.
Right.
So
have you shot like any interesting people?
I have.
Homes?
I've got to shoot a bunch of different celebrities over the past years. To name a couple, I have had the pleasure of meeting Alec Baldwin, Billy Joel, Howard Stern.
Wow.
And
that's
a handful
phenomenal.
of other ones.
Wow. That's
so
great.
That's that's the fun part.
Right. Now you've also taken shot photography for magazines.
Correct. I've done a lot of freelance work for Architectural Digest. I've had a couple of my photos on the cover of the DuPont Registry, Hamptons Magazine, Fine Homes and Gardens.
Wow. Have you ever shot over in the Hamptons?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, a bunch of times, yeah.
Nice.
Beautiful.
That's where Howard lives out there, doesn't he?
Yeah.
And Billy Joel.
And all those guys.
Yeah.
You live out there, Matt?
I vacation out there.
Okay.
Yes,
Right.
I rent a house for the
thought.
summer.
Okay.
Yes.
For the summer?
For the summer.
How come I never got an invite?
Well, we just met you over the summer.
Well,
so.
our engineer just notified us that we've reached the midpoint of our episode, and the New Jersey Real Estate Show will return after hearing a few words from our sponsors.
The New Jersey Real Estate Show is brought to you by the law offices of Joseph C. Petriello, located in Wayne, New Jersey. To contact them, call 973-890-7262. That's 973-890-7262. Are you purchasing or refinancing a home? Do you need a free same-day pre-approval? Then call Dean Scaduto from Coldwell Banker Home Loans at 201-322-3456. That's 201-322-3456.
Welcome back to the New Jersey Real Estate Show. We're here with our guest, Joe Locascio, owner of Home Exposure, as we continue our discussion on the importance of using a professional real estate photographer to take photos of your home. During a break, Matt, Joe, and myself were talking about the importance of aerial photography and when it should and should not be used. So now we're going to move on to some drone questions. Joe, there's nothing like capturing the personality of a home and its amenities from a sky to ground view. These aerial photos provide buyers with a dramatic and breathtaking view while adding a different perspective from above. It helps the buyers easily identify the size of the property, its amenities such as pools, tennis courts, etc. Aerial photography, in my opinion, is a game changer when it comes to packaging and marketing homes, thus causing them to sell for their highest and best price. So my question to you, Joe, as a professional real estate photographer, what's your perspective on aerial photography?
Number one, it sets the agent apart from the other agents that aren't doing it, and it lets their clients know that they're being taken care of the way that they should be, marketing their home. I mean, I think that's the number one reason, for the agent. from the photography side of it, I mean, I love taking aerial photos. You get to play with the drone, and
Yeah.
you know, and but the different perspective of shot that you can get on the house is it'll set it apart from everything else that you'll see as you're thumbing through the MLS or whatever. Your photos, once you see the aerial photo, people stop and click and see what that house is all about.
Right.
I have to confess, the first time I saw an aerial photo, I was in awe.
Yeah,
said,
they're awesome.
This is phenomenal. How do I do this?
Right.
I think it was Ronnie and Bill.
Mm-hmm.
Now,
But
did you know, like, to go get a guy who has a drone, or did you think you had to get a guy who had a helicopter?
I thought I had to learn how to fly a drone.
I used to tape a GoPro to a regular remote control helicopter.
Oh, really?
And just set it to time lapse and fly it around and hope I caught something before these
But yeah, now you
the
can
drone
just see
craze
what you're
came
looking
out.
at.
And
Yeah.
so, but
But I remember the first time seeing it. It was like I was just totally in awe.
Yeah.
yeah, it's definitely a unique.
Now, would
type
you
of photography.
would you recommend including that in like a package that somebody comes to for any house or only certain houses?
It's certain houses. I'll have clients come to me and say, "Hey, I want to do the aerial photography," and I'll say, "Great," and we'll get there, and the house has 30 trees on the property, and you can't see the
Can't
house.
see, just see the roof. and-
So I'll give my input that way, but for the most part, we can catch couple different angles, and I will tell you if I don't think it's worth it or if it is.
So you'll get out there and you'll say to the guy, yeah,
It's just not-
you're
yeah.
wasting your money.
Yeah, because
That's good. You're honest.
The impact is you want to see the size of the property. If
Right.
they have a pool, you want to see the pool. And if there's obstructions, why send the drone up there?
Sure.
Only to see canopies and covered
Sure, it also
by-
helps though
and-
to see like how close your neighbors are.
Exactly.
All that other stuff.
And sometimes that's a good thing, and sometimes it's a bad thing. So that's where I kind of judge.
Right, right.
Do we want to show that, or or don't we? So
that's good. So then you're advising in that regard too, thinking from a selling point of view.
absolutely.
You're not just like, yeah, give me the money.
No.
Yeah.
No,
that's
I
good.
treat every client, no matter what. If it's a $50 million home or $100,000 home, they're going to get the same
Good. Yeah.
service as anybody. So
Yeah, that's good. No, their success is your success.
100%.
So yeah, that's good.
I don't know if this is a good question or not, but I'm going to ask it anyway.
We'll cut it out.
Let's say, no, you have a property, and they have all this beautiful nightscape lighting. They have an in-ground pool where they have the different color lights in the pool. They may have a basketball court that's a full court basketball court with lights. Does it pay to do an aerial photography or twilight aerial photography in that case?
I would say absolutely. And definitely.
Depending on the lighting, the overall lighting on the exterior.
Yeah, definitely a twilight shot for sure. And if we can get in an aerial twilight, even better. But again,
Because
it has to be the right.
If I was a drone operator, I'd kind of be afraid I may lose the drone in the darkness of night.
No, those things come back to you.
Yeah, there's been a couple instances that have been kind of sketchy, but it's always come back.
Now you have to have a license for that now, don't you?
You do if you're doing it commercially,
Which you are.
which I am.
So you have to have your license.
Yeah,
How hard is that to get?
That was now it's pretty simple, but over the past 3 years since this drone craze has been going on,
Yeah.
and they would change the regulations every other day.
Right.
Me being a commercial photographer would follow the rules and do the right thing, and
Yeah.
it turns out now that kind of bit me in the butt because now amateurs can just go and do whatever they want, but now I'm commercial. I have to register with the FAA. I have to, get that license.
Well,
they
but-
can track me as
Okay.
to where an amateur can just
You can just go and do it.
go and
say,
do it and say,
Give me $250. I'll do your drone
Yeah,
shots.
I didn't know, but me being
Because yeah.
I followed the rules.
Right. Well, that's the problem.
Yeah.
With following the rules.
Exactly. So, but
Yeah.
no, but you do have to, if you're going to do commercially, you do have to get a license. You have to be registered with the FAA. They have
And
to-
what is it, like 400 feet?
Yeah, it's 400. Well, when you're doing a commercial, they'll let you go up. I believe it's 550 feet now. Amateurs can go up 400. I can go up 550 feet, and I can go, I believe, half a mile in each direction.
Oh, okay.
You have to be at least 5 miles away from the nearest airport.
Mm-hmm.
And
so that would restrict then what houses you can use too, or use this on
exactly,
as well, right? So if somebody
exactly.
calls you and they're like, "Yeah, I got this beautiful house by Newark."
That's always my first question: is there an airport?
Yeah,
because they will.
Because there's small ones too. It's not just the big ones.
Oh no,
like, like Morristown Airport or something.
They'll call right away.
You got the one right over here in Lincoln Park, the Lincoln Park Airport,
right,
which is a small airport.
You know, 99% of the time, there's no issues. But if you keep it low enough. But if you're up there flying around and a plane sees it, they'll report you.
Sure. So when you get the drone in position,
mm-hmm.
can you see the picture that you're taking?
Oh, absolutely, yeah.
Where on the control?
It goes right on through your cell phone.
Really?
Yeah. So
you
you're
get
up
the
there
angle
flying it. I'm not even looking at the drone. I'm looking down at my cell phone to see what.
So the drone's flying itself?
Pretty much.
Do you have the GPS one where you could tell it to go out to a certain coordinate and it'll come back to you?
Yeah, you can plot certain waypoints on it.
That's awesome. That's so cool.
It is really, you really can pretty much fly it, and it'll fly itself.
Wow.
Yeah.
That is incredible.
That is nice.
So Joe, what's the time frame or lead time that you need on an average to set up a photo shoot?
On average, I book up in this, in the spring market, at least a week and a half. That's just because of the time of year. This time of year I need a couple days, and
okay.
I'll be able to squeeze you in somewhere.
Right.
But it all depends on the time of year.
Okay, and so
the spring I want as much lead time as possible, and
okay.
During the slower months.
So after the photo shoot, then the time frame to get the photos back, 48 hours?
Exactly. Yep.
Okay.
And again, that varies from time of year, but nothing more than 48 hours.
Okay.
If it's slower, you'll have them.
No, it's good because then the agent knows how to set it up to get it into the multiple listing. To put it into the multiple listing, I personally like to put things in the MLS when I have the photos complete, because the photos complete the marketing and packaging. Without that, I get up every morning at 5 o'clock. So when the rest of the real estate community wakes up and they check and do their updates and a new listing comes up, all the photos are there. And the photos are impressive.
And that's what sets you apart from the other people that aren't using.
What, the 5 o'clock in the morning?
Yeah, getting up and.
Matt, you have any other questions?
No,
I think
that's it.
Okay. Well, it looks like we've reached the end of another great episode. Joe, it was both an honor and pleasure having you on the show today.
Thank you, Tim.
Good job, Joe.
We thank you once again for your valued time and sharing your story with our listeners. It was extremely informative and insightful. Thanks again, Joe. And by the way, if someone wants to schedule a photo shoot with you, how can they get in touch with you?
You can call me. My cell phone number is 973-464-3052. Or you can check me out on my website, which is homeexposurellc.com. Facebook, Home Exposure. And my email. You can email me at homeexposurellc@yahoo.com.
Thanks, Joe. And anybody who's out there listening, believe me, I can attest to it. He's phenomenal at what he does. So make sure you tune in next week, as our topic of discussion will be on the who, what, when, where, and how do I start a new and dynamic career in real estate. I'm sure the voice of reason, Matt Josephs, will be listening in on that
Absolutely.
one. Okay, this move can be a game changer, so make sure you tune in next week. As always, we thank you for listening to the New Jersey Real Estate Show, and remember, great leaders aspire to lead, then lead to inspire others. Stay safe, my friends.